News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. We begin tonight with one of the most talked about elections of the year. As of right now, Republican Roy Moore is in the lead. With 69% of the votes counted, Roy Moore is leading Democrat Doug Jones by 3 percentage points. This election, several women have come forward accusing Moore of molesting them when they were teenagers. But the GOP is counting on a Republican to fill the seat left vacant by Jeff Sessions. This race has grabbed headlines for months, slicing a line down the Republican Party. Earlier today, I spoke with Representative Kevin Kramer to get his thoughts on the election. He said that while lawmakers have weighed in on what they hoped the outcome will be, ultimately the decision whether or not to elect Moore was up to the people.
Around Washington, it's sort of a mixed bag. I mean, I think there are some Republican leaders that sincerely hope he loses because it'd be easier for them to not have to deal with him here in Washington and deal with his personal baggage. On the other hand, this balance of power is very fragile.
We also reached out to Senator Heidi Heitkamp, who did not comment on the race. We'll have full election results coming up as we get them, and also on our sister station KFYR at 10. Let's throw it over now to Henry Blakes for weather. Thank you, Henry. 2 shootings in 1 week in Mandan. Police offering very little information about either. On December 2nd, there was a shooting on Poplar Street. 2 days later, police arrested a 22-year-old Spencer St. Clair for his involvement. The victim was treated and released. The second incident happened last Friday on Firth Street Northwest. Police were looking for 2 persons of interest in that case. They interviewed Samuel Nicholas and say he was not involved. They're still looking for Shannon Gerber. In that case, the victim was also treated and released. Daniela Hurtado joins us now from Mandan, where she talked to the police chief. Daniela?
Molly, I spoke to the chief and the public information officer earlier today behind those now closed doors. They emphasized that people shouldn't be worried. But this isn't stopping people from being more hyper aware of their surroundings until someone is held accountable for the 2 incidents.
We're learning an 81-year-old woman has died in a crash near White Shield this afternoon. It happened at the intersection of 63rd Avenue Northwest and Highway 1804. The woman failed to yield to a semi-truck while attempting to cross the highway. The driver of the semi tried to stop and steer around her vehicle, but hit the driver's side of the car. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. And a shocking discovery at the Bismarck Airport. TSA say they found a pistol inside a carry-on bag. This pistol contained a loaded magazine, but no rounds were in the chamber. Bismarck police say the TSA agent found the gun during an x-ray screening. The 43-year-old passenger told police he, quote, forgot it was in his bag. The Bismarck Police Department took the gun and the passenger was released at the scene without further incident. Speaking of guns, the Bismarck Police Department will be getting some new hardware. The department presented its bid to the City Commission tonight. The 140 guns needed would cost more than $29,000. Chief of Police Dan Donlan says there is a need for the switch.
They weren't cycling as smoothly as they should. So we looked at it, we tried to troubleshoot the issues and the problems. We just had more and more officers that were stating they were having some problems. The
commission approved the request for the new Sig Sauer guns. A woman accused of shooting at law enforcement officers during the Dakota Access Pipeline protest wants to suppress some evidence and statements she made to police. Attorneys for Red Fawn Fallis contended that the seizure of evidence against her was taken unlawfully. Fallis is scheduled to go on trial next month. She has pleaded not guilty to the charges against her. A Williston man is under arrest for terrorizing after making racial slurs and threatening to commit a violent crime. William County officers responded to an apartment complex on 42nd Street Sunday night where Raimundo Rodriguez was fighting with 2 other men. One of the men told officers the incident started when he woke up to loud noises outside of his apartment. He asked Rodrigo to quiet down. Rodrigo is now behind bars. A man convicted of murdering his ex-wife in Minot 2 years ago has been transferred to a prison in California. Richie Wilder Jr. was found guilty of breaking into Angela Wilder's home in the middle of the night and stabbing her more than 40 times. He's been sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole, but he is appealing the conviction. Well, following the death of a freshman yesterday, the State College of Science in Wapton is offering counseling to students. The discovery of 18-year-old Nathan Gossett's body comes just as students are preparing for finals and Christmas break. Authorities have not released any details about his cause of death. In medical news, the state health department says there were 68 overdose deaths this year. That's a 400% increase over 2 years. The situation has become so serious that now schools are getting involved. Education reporter Cynthia McLaughlin says they're now keeping an overdose antidote on hand. Bismarck officials are still looking for a way to provide short and long-term solutions after the only community emergency shelter shut down in October. And they're getting close to finding a way to help. Megan Hoffman joins us now with the story.
At tonight's City Commission meeting, United Way Executive Director Jenna Gullo says so far they've raised $105,000. United Way has taken over providing housing each night for the last month and a half. Gullo says a bare bones budget would be about $90,000 through April to provide housing each night, but to get a 24-hour shelter up and running, that rises to $215,000, and Gullo is asking the city to help with funding. The City Commission is now asking the Budget Committee to start looking at how much money the city can provide to help find a building and get the shelter up and running.
Thank you, Megan. Well, the days of the North American Trade Agreement could be numbered. NAFTA, which started in 1994, aims to eliminate agricultural tariffs between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. If the Trump administration does away with NAFTA, which they've promised, it could mean a major blow for North Dakota. Reporter Stephanie Rank shows us how. Let's toss it over to meteorologist Henry Blakes for a full look at our forecast ahead. Welcome back. We want to give you some late breaking information on the election in Alabama. As of right now, 88% of the vote has been counted, and it is a dead tie between Doug Jones, the Democrat, and Roy Moore, the Republican. 49.2% for each of them. The difference is only a couple thousand votes, still too close to call. Again, 88% of the vote is in. We will give you updates as we get them. Coming up, could premium gas be a waste of money? We'll explain. Welcome back. We're getting some late breaking information right now. My director telling me that the Associated Press has called the Alabama semi race for Doug Jones, Democrat Doug Jones. More on that coming up at 10. But first, a warning tonight from AAA, premium gas could be a premium waste of money. That's coming up at 10 as well.
Hey, we're looking at our morning commute. It's going to be windy. Temperature starting out in the 30s, and we're going to be close to 40 degrees. Slight chance of precip overnight. Better chances of that to the east part of the state. And then, yeah, cool for Thursday. Warming back up again by Friday and the weekend.
Thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow.